Breathe in and breathe out. Did you know that indoor air you breathe could be up to 5 times more polluted than outdoor air? Fresh Air Matters specializes in helping you create a healthy indoor environment by cleaning the air you breathe. They offer local plans and services that include air filter replacement plans, air duct cleaning, and many more. Go to freshairmatters.com, call or text 469-469-1852 to learn more about cleaning your indoor air. That's freshairmatters.com or 469-469-1852. Tell Steven you heard about Fresh Air Matters from the Back in the Day podcast to receive a special discount on air duct cleaning, air purifiers, and more. Again, tell him that you heard about it from Back in the Day podcast. Welcome to this week's episode. On this episode, we have former comedian turned podcaster turned minister, Zach Rippey. Zach and I go back, man. I used to do shows with him 3 or 4 years ago, and since then he's kind of changed his direction in life. So we talk about that. We talk about what kind of led to his change. We talk about his podcast that he started, his ministry that he started, and the book that he wrote, 21 Days in Africa. So make sure you guys check out his podcast, check out his book, and enjoy this episode.
Hey, are you talking about back in the day?
Nah, man. I'm talking about back in the day.
Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day.
Joining me today on the Back in the Day podcast is the host of the I Like Birds podcast, the author of 21 Days in Africa, Zach Rippey. What's up, man?
Hey, Michael, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
this
dude.
is a beautiful venue you got. It's a privilege to be here, so I just appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen you, dude. I think the last time I saw you, definitely pre-COVID, might have been at that show that we did at that like Mexican restaurant in HEB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you booked that show, right?
Yeah, dude, that was a weird show
That was a
because
weird
the way that came about was one of my coworkers was like, "Hey, I have a friend that owns this restaurant that next to it's a bar and they got like a little space. Would you want to like produce some comedy shows there?" I said, "Sure, absolutely, why not?" So did one of them that it was packed. That's how those always happen.
I know.
Man.
The first one's always hitting.
Yeah, and then the owners after that, they get like, I don't know, I don't want to say greedy, but they get, I don't know what
higher expectations.
That's exactly what it is.
High expectations for every single one.
Very unrealistic expectations. Like,
right.
And like, you're like, we did $3,000 in the bar that night. Like, you know, we're gonna whatever it was. Like,
we're gonna pump
did,
this.
Yeah, we did huge numbers.
We're gonna put some money behind it.
Yeah.
And then they actually don't.
And then the next show was like maybe like 50% of that. So they were still kind of happy. And then the next show there was like 6 people, and they were like, What's happening? I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's a Wednesday night in Hurst, Texas. Like it might be tight. Sure. It might not be.
Yeah, and I actually enjoyed my set that night because I adapted this mentality in comedy where I'm going to perform to one person like I would perform to 100, even if it doesn't feel like that energy is going to be the same. I'm still going to have a good time with what I'm handed. But that night, people were eating like chimichangas and burritos like during my set, and it was so hard to engage and get laughs in there. But I had a good time.
Yeah, that was a cool spot, man.
Yeah.
And then so that was right. I think that was 2020.
Yeah.
If my memory serves me correct. And it felt like maybe you were starting to take like a little next level to comedy. Would you say that?
Yeah, man. I was producing multiple shows in the DFW. I had about 4 open mics that I was hosting myself, and I had 1 open mic in Denton that I was producing, and then I had 2 monthly shows as well that I was producing and hosting on. So I was at the Haltom Theater. I was at the Blue Crab in Fort Worth. I was at Mad Hatter. I was at Magnolia Motor Lounge. I was at a Playground. I was at a bunch of different spots. Just really trying to build my own thing because I got banned from Hyenas.
Okay.
So that was interesting. During the Kill Tony show, I was.
Do you
on Kill
care
Tony.
about telling that story about how you got banned?
Nah, man, I'd love to.
Okay, what happened?
At the time, I was super bitter, but it also actually led me to getting more paychecks and more booked. And I was actually, just making a name for myself. And I was starting to do. I'll get back to the Hyenas thing in a second, but I was doing like the. I got booked at like a casino and everything, so I was able to bring openers with me. I was just, moving and grooving, and then COVID happened, and then boom, everything
stopped. Yeah.
Everything stopped, and that's kind of when I, took my foot off the gas and switched into the podcasting world as well as the authorship world, and really just ministry, as God really just changed my life completely. But Hyenas, man, that was crazy. I actually went back and watched the Kill Tony episode not too long ago because I had a hard time even watching it because of that sour moment of like getting off stage after feeling like everything was great. You know, making Tony Hinchcliffe laugh, making Jeremiah just come up and just make some awesome riffs.
That was local, right? It was at
that was in Dallas. Yeah.
So for people that don't know, Kill Tony is a very extremely popular podcast. Yeah. Tony Hinchcliffe is a very famous comedian. He has like kind of an open mic kind of type thing where he has a bucket where he draws people's names out of it. And sometimes you get comics that have been doing it for 5 years. Sometimes you get comics that this is their first time they've ever done it, and they each get to do a minute, and then he has a panel there, and they interview you, and that's kind of the best part of the show, wouldn't you say, is like the interview part about it?
Yeah, it's because it gives a little guy a shot, and that's all we can ask for is like open micers and comedians that are local. He gave local artists a shot to be funny, get a little stage presence, get on a show that has 20,000 views every time on YouTube, guaranteed.
Yeah, probably larger than that.
Yeah, larger than that now, especially. But at the time, I remember just like engaging with the show, and it was the #1 live podcast in the world, especially comedy related.
Yeah.
And I was super pumped about it. It was something that I didn't feel like I would ever get a chance to get my name pulled, but I went ahead and do it. I went ahead and did it one time, and I was the first name called that night. And I was just like, whoa, let's go. You know, I went up there and I did a joke about church or something like that, of course, and like Blink-182 being the Beatles of the 90s. And Tony Hinchcliffe and the guys just roasted me. But then my interview part went really well, and they were just showing love. And then ended up asking me, like, what do you got going on this weekend, you know? And then I was just like, well, I got a couple shows. I got one going to Backdoor Comedy Club. I got one at Dallas Comedy House. And then, boom, I get off stage, and the owner of Hyenas did not like that. He was not a fan that I promoted other comedy clubs on his stage, which, you know, I get it, but also it wasn't in a very tasteful way. He had the manager relay the information to me, and the manager had to ban me and say I couldn't come back to the club for months. He didn't even have the guts to tell me to my face. So that was another part that kind of hurt in that regard, because I've done some, you know, radio runs for the guy. I've done a lot of things for that club as a whole, and I don't think that was very justified for just answering a question that Tony Hinchcliffe asked me.
Yeah, I got you. Understandable, completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know how that game is sometimes, right?
Yeah, but
whatever. Like, you know,
I know, and that's the thing. I'm saying it, and I'm bold on it now because it's like at the time, it's you think that everything is going to end. You know, you're like, all my opportunities of moving up at the club, and I'll never be able to get stage time anywhere. But then, you know, God was just like, go do your own thing, go start your own shows, and that's what happened. And that actually helped me get a better name for myself than maybe, you know, hosting at that comedy club at the time.
Maybe so, maybe not. Right, yeah. You never really know what's going to come from any.
It's a journey, man.
Opportunity.
That's what comedy was, and that's what life is, you know.
So okay, COVID shuts down.
Mm-hmm.
You find yourself. What led to? So because now, would you consider you're not doing comedy anymore? You have the podcast. Did I see you got ordained recently?
Yeah, so I went to Bible college for a couple of years, and I got a license to minister in the state of Texas.
Okay. So what led to that? Walk me through, like, growing up. Did you grow up in the church? Did you?
No, not very much.
That?
My parents weren't religious by any means. My dad went to church occasionally, would bring me along, but was not walking, you know, with the Lord at the time. I got invited to church when I was 19 years old, maybe 20 years old, from a girl at Outback Steakhouse. I used to work there, and I had my son Noah at the time. I was a young dad, a single dad, and they invited me, and then I went with him. And I wanted him to grow up in a good church, you know, and grow up with, you know, godly principles and stuff like that. It's like I believed in God, I believed in the message, but I almost didn't have a relationship with Jesus at the time. I was just kind of, you know, idealism. I think so, therefore he is, you know. And you know, I was bringing my son there, and my son actually was really gravitating towards the teacher that was in the classroom. And I noticed I would pick him up after service, and he would be in her arms. And I was like scoping her out. I was like, yo, she looked kind of good holding my son right there, you know? So I ended up asking her on a date, and long story short, she ended up becoming my wife. And we moved to Texas, and we started going to a church, and I started really liking it, started bringing a journal with me, started writing down what the pastor was saying. I was like, yo, I could really connect with this. And then 2020 happened, and then boom, everything was shut down. And then I read the Gospel of John, which was basically the heart of Jesus, is Jesus' best friend. And I started just really feeling like, for the first time ever, like, yo, Jesus is real. Like the power is here. The Holy Spirit is real. And just like the truth of what Jesus was saying was just really resonating with me, so much so to the fact where I felt led to walk away from stand-up comedy and be a voice for him instead.
Gotcha. That's cool, man. And then so it's just been kind of taking off since then, and that led to you doing the podcast, everything like that. Talk to me about what your podcast is. I Like Birds. First of all, where'd you come with the name?
Yeah. Well, I Like Birds was a multifaceted kind of a name aspect of it. It was we were during COVID. It was lockdowns. We were locked inside our house, couldn't really go anywhere, and the birds were free. So a lot of times I would go outside to, honestly, like pray, clear my head, just enjoy God's creation and nature. And I would just see the birds, rolling around. And I just started saying to myself, man, I like birds, bro. I like birds. I just kept saying it over and over again. And then the Lord was just like, gave me like a little slogan, like I like the Bible and I like words. So I like birds, and put them together. And then also, if you've ever read the gospel, you know that that Jesus Christ, when he was baptized, was actually a dove came on him in the representation of the Holy Spirit, and it laid on him. And so it's basically including the Holy Spirit into my podcast and stuff. So I wanted to just call it I Like Birds, and it's really resonated since. And when I go to like a coffee shop or something, I'll have like a shirt that says it, and people be like, I like birds too. And then next thing you know, opens up a door for convo. Boom, I tell them about the podcast, and next thing you know, people are tuning in and being a fan.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And you've been out for what, about 3 years now?
Yeah, about 3.5 years. And it's just really been great, man. It's been something that I thought 4 people would listen. Honestly, I was like, I don't know much about God. I read like 2 books in the Bible at that time when I started launching it. But those 2, the Lord didn't tell me like, oh, you need to know everything. Just tell them what you do know.
Yeah.
I think that's valuable for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I've listened to some of your beginning episodes and then some of your more recent ones, and I think, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but my memory serves me that, if it serves me well, that at the very beginning you talk about like, this is going to be like, y'all follow around my journey of learning more about the Bible, and you guys can follow along with me, right?
Yeah,
I'm not here to be an expert. I'm just telling you what I know so far.
Yeah.
And I might mess up. I might
yeah, for sure, bro.
like I might
mispronunciations 100%.
like, or whatever, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Right? And so do you feel like it's really like, have you had any people that listened from the beginning that have like their journey into their knowledge of the Bible has grown a lot since that?
Yeah, man, it's been crazy, the stories I hear, man, and the DMs I get from people that go all the way back, even now, still to this day, they go back to episode 1 and they're on the journey with me, and it's almost it's interesting because a lot of people are where they're at was where I was at in the beginning. And then they start growing in this way of like, wow, there's so much truth here. There's so much, I didn't know this about scripture. Like, I don't really like reading the word, but that's why Paul says that faith comes by hearing in the book of Romans. And it's like, that's why I felt so called that like the gospel has to transcend. It can't just be forever. It can't forever be, just the word, but as we're moving into the digital age, the gospel has to go there too. It has to go in the podcast, has to go on the speeches, on the even the show The Chosen right now is taken off in the media space because people have a hunger for spiritual truth. And I've been able to see people experiencing salvation, which means they accept Jesus, and then next thing you know, they're transformed. I had a listener the other day message me that him and his fiance just got baptized, and I go on Instagram and I see them getting baptized, and they became like followers of Christ through the show. So it's just powerful stuff, man. And deliverances happening, and just reconciled relationships with people and whatnot, just through the means of people growing while I'm growing. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And it's fun to watch that too, because I kind of feel like to me it's always interesting, like when you go to a church or you meet people at churches, they kind of usually have the same 1 or 2 stories. Like they either, if they're still going to church now in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, whatever, they grew up going to church. Their parents made them go to church 2-3 times a week, whatever, right? That's my life. We went to church twice on Sunday and on Wednesdays.
That's a lot.
A lot, yeah. Not always twice on Sundays, but as we got older, we did, and we always went on Wednesday too. So it was like, missing church was like vacation. It was only when we were on vacation.
Did you like that, or did you not like that? Do you like it now?
I didn't hate it.
Okay.
I didn't have a problem with it. It was also, for some years, it was a lot of fun. Like I had like my church friends and stuff like that. So that was a lot of fun. I honestly don't go to church very often now. A lot less. The last 4 or 5 years, I've probably gone like 10 times. So don't go to, maybe even less than that. I don't go to church that often anymore.
Do you feel like you have a good foundation of the gospel and like the scriptures and your faith?
Yeah. And no, I think my faith has been, I wouldn't say like, my faith hasn't changed. My faith in the
church has changed.
In the church has changed.
For sure, dude.
So
I understand that.
I think that and you're not supposed to have your faith in man, right? You're supposed to have your faith. I don't have any problem with Jesus. Like, we're cool. But like the people that are leading it, it just like, I feel like there's a lot of like picking and choosing which sins we're going to persecute, picking and choosing which ones we're going to like really go after, because I feel like sometimes, as not all churches, but like there's a lot of churches out there that they go after the sin to talk about that does not affect them. Right? Like,
it's easy to do that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna talk about I'm not gonna say which ones. I don't want to, like, last thing. Right? We're gonna talk about X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
but we're not gonna say nothing about this one because I struggle with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not gonna say anything about that. We might say it a little bit, but we're gonna pick it the other ones, right? And so I guess maybe some of that kind of has played into kind of what, and the church that I grew up in was very legalistic.
That's
to where, you know, in a lot of times churches,
that's where they lose people, because that's not what Jesus was here for. He came to make new wine, a new covenant, a new relationship with him. He came to break off that spirit of religion. Even when he had that conversation with Nicodemus in John 3, he's over here, you know, kind of sharing the things that are so profound to the religious leader. He can't even physically understand it. He can't even understand earthly things. So how can he understand heavenly things? And that's why that's why I really feel called to do this ministry, is because I feel like I'm able to break that bridge of people's experiences with the church versus experiences with Jesus, and making sure that they don't associate the two as being the same.
Yeah. Because, you know, it's and I haven't been into a youth group probably in, 20 years because I'm not of the youth anymore. But the youth group culture, hopefully it's changed, is like scaring kids into Christianity. It's not like talking about that there's grace or anything like that.
I think
it's
it's changed a little bit.
You know what I mean? Like,
I've seen some good vibes recently with
yeah,
that,
like,
actually.
don't you have sex? Like, right? Like, we all got to hold these purity cards. Like, dude.
Yeah, that's the thing. The boomers got it wrong. And that's why we're seeing the churches, actually 90% of churches right now are in decline, because they didn't get it right, and they're trying to recycle the things that don't work from like 1984, and they've missed out on all the changes of culture that they haven't been able to keep up and be able. And they always expect people to come here, come to our church, and it's like, no, you got to go out into the community, you got to go out to the broken, you got to go find the lost, and we haven't really seen that in churches. And so hopefully, the church I'm a part of right now, it's a newer church, and they have a really good vision for that. They have a good vision for reaching the lost and just existing for the resting place of the Lord. And I'm hoping that I can represent that in my ministry, as well as encourage people to go find churches that exist for Him.
Did you ever grow up? Did you go to youth group or anything growing up at all?
I went to a couple of things like that. I had a friend named Gilbert. His mom used to bring me along with that. And so, yeah, I found it more so like, come here and play games rather than come here and learn about Jesus.
My youth group wasn't like that because there was only like 10 of us. So we were small.
It was more intimate.
Yeah, and like our youth pastor was legit. He was awesome. I'm still friends with him to this day. Like he was the pastor at my wedding. He's only like 8 years older than me, so it's like he was amazing. But just like the things that like the church would have us do, like I always thought this was hilarious. We'd go swimming and we'd all wear t-shirts. Like even the girls, like we would wear t-shirts over our swimsuits, and it's like, that's way more revealing. Like a tight t-shirt, a wet tight t-shirt on someone.
That's so funny you remembered that.
Yeah,
like that's the thing that bothers you.
Like, it's way worse than just like, tell them they can wear a one piece. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that material is made to get wet. They don't have, they have wet t-shirt contests for a reason.
Yeah,
like, right?
Dude,
like
that's so funny.
And like they have that, and then we had some like other rules that you're just like, this isn't.
Yeah. So
like,
what are some of the good things that you liked about the church when you were younger, though?
Dude, I liked our youth group a lot because it was close, and like our youth pastor was a really good speaker.
There we go.
And he did a really good job of like breaking everything down to where you understood stuff. And he was the first one, in my opinion, that I felt like really talked about grace.
There we go.
In our youth group. And he had a lot of things that he had to overcome, where I felt like a lot of times, and obviously I'm 14 years old, so it's not like I can like really like decipher a lot of stuff, but I felt like since he had kind of a hard upbringing, he brought everything from like a different angle than everything else I'd ever heard, where it was like, the people that were preaching before, they weren't part of the class that was, brought down.
Right.
You know,
like they didn't have like you
they weren't repressed. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? And it's just like,
and I think that's where life experience comes in so much like in hand. And that's why even if you look in the Bible, it's like Paul was like the chief of sinners. Like he killed Christians and he was like persecuting them. Yet he was the one that like wrote 13 epistles and started 14 churches, and the one that gave us like our doctrine in the book of Romans. You know what I mean? It's like God will use like the worst of the worst to tell his story for his glory. You know what I mean?
Well, it's because it's like real people.
Right.
It's kind of like how I get real frustrated, like with our education system, that you have like people, and I've gone on a tangent a lot on this podcast.
What
about our
education system?
That like you have people there's some really good teachers out there, and it's not usually their fault that the school system sucks. But you have people that they went to elementary school, then they went to middle school, then they went to high school, then they went to college for 4 years to learn how to be a teacher. Then they go back and become a teacher. They're a teacher for 5 years. Then they get their master's. They're a principal, right? And then they're a principal for a while. Now they're on the school board that are in charge of trying to teach everybody how the real world works, but they never left school.
Yeah, dude, that's so true.
You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
that's kind of the same thing too, like sometimes with the church, like where it's like, okay, I've been to Bible study my
You're in a
entire
bubble.
life. You never left
in a
that bubble.
dude.
And it's like, I want to hear more from someone that's actually had to lean on their relationship.
But the
You know
Lord,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like not just this fluff of everything like
Yeah,
that. And that's
that's
where you
good.
get sometimes with a lot of places. But I've had good experiences at churches. You know, I've had some bad ones. I think we all have.
Yeah.
One of the most common reasons for poor indoor air quality and HVAC malfunction is restricted airflow and poor air circulation caused by the failure to replace the air filters. When was the last time you replaced your air filters? Do you own rental property? Are you tired of climbing into your attic to replace your air filters? With Fresh Air Matters air filter replacement plans, you won't have to worry about replacing your air filters again. They provide the filters, they replace them for you, and they clean your return vents on the same day, same time, every 30 to 90 days. Go to freshairmatters.com or contact Steven at 469-469-1852 to schedule your air filter replacements plan or any other local IAQ services.
And
Right.
I think there's a remnant going on. I think there's a big move of God happening right now, like in real time. There's a spiritual war happening in our culture, you know, that's around. I'm sure you can kind of identify like where that's at and like what's happening, where it's like that shouldn't be this way, you know. And it's like the church is kind of in the position right now where we need to rise up and we need to stand on like the word of God and be able to represent that like in our character and like let the fruit of our lives be the sermon, you know, instead of like bringing people to church like, oh, you should go to this church. It's like, no, we are the church. We are the body of Christ, you know. So it's like if I'm not out evangelizing and wearing the jersey of Christ and I'm not representing his kingdom, then therefore the church is going to look weak on not just the building but as a whole.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see like a rise up of believers to actually like, you know, represent Christ in a way that is attractive again, be salt and light, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you grew up in Florida, right?
I did.
Okay. What part of Florida did you grow up in?
So I was born in Miami and I lived in Fort Lauderdale area until I was 14. And then I moved to Tampa when I was 14. So I did high school in Tampa area.
Okay. Did you play sports growing up?
I played sports in high school, yeah.
Okay.
I was on the basketball team for sophomore year, junior year, and senior year.
What position did you play?
I played point forward, kind of like Draymond Green.
Okay. I like that
Yep.
analogy. Or like the old Tony Kukoc.
Yeah, a little bit, a little swag, a little assists, you know, a little rebounds, a little blocks and steals, but like 2 points a game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like missing free throws all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Someone one day was like, we were talking about something because I grew up in the 90s. So my youth basketball career was like when the Bulls were winning the second three-peat.
nice, dude.
And my team was
Jealous.
so good, and we were so cocky, and we thought we acted like we were the Bulls, like, you know, like we
Yeah,
we were
dude,
such
that's
jerks.
fun.
Who were you on the team? I was like, I was Rodman with an outside shot.
Hey,
let's
let's go.
give me some
With the
rebounds.
elbow jumper.
Yeah, you know, or whatever. But so grew up in Florida.
Yeah.
Did you move to Texas for the wife?
Yeah, my wife, her family was from here, and then also I was doing comedy at Side Splitters in Tampa, and I saw we only had we had Side Splitters and the Improv, and like very little amount of mics. And I started to see and doing some research. I was like, DFW was like where it was at for comedy as far as like being able to hit multiple mics in a night, as well as just the opportunities. There was like 7 clubs out here when I first moved here, and I was like, well, if I'm going to chase this stand-up comedy dream, I need my wife to have like people she can be around when I'm
Yeah.
gone on the weekends, especially if we have children together, and which that was the plan. So moving here was like chasing a dream, but also like giving my wife her dream of being close to her family again.
Because she's from the DFW
Yep,
area?
she's from Mansfield area.
Okay, that's
And
cool,
I
man.
met her in Florida. She was actually, she just wanted to live in another state. She went with her best friend to move down there. Her best friend was from there, so she just wanted to live in a different state by herself for a couple years, and that's when I met her, and then she scooped me on back to Texas. But I wanted to come. Like, it was something that the Lord was just like, you should move here, and I was like,
Yeah.
let's go. So,
What were you like growing up? Were
oh
you
my gosh.
like a class clown? Were you
Class clown.
loud and whatever?
Class clown 100%. I loved to make people laugh. Like, I would get in trouble often because of that. I found myself when I was a child, one of my favorite moments of getting in trouble was like, not my favorite, it's just kind of funny, the story of like, I would hit kids like playing around, but also like I would get in trouble for it. I would totally just like mollywop kids because honestly, kids were mean to me, but also like I was big, so I could.
Why do you think they were mean to you? Did they have a certain thing they made fun of you about?
I was really I was chunky with a flat top, bro. Like flat to like a army
like
flat
a
top.
Bart Simpson,
And I would dress. I was so like, the person that I looked like was not the person that I wanted to be. Like, I loved hoops, so I would wear like basketball jerseys. I loved hip hop and Eminem, so I would wear like, wristbands and like just beanies from 8 Mile. You know what I mean?
I've told my friends about this. So like, and one of my friends, he heard the story. He's a college buddy of mine, so didn't know me in middle school. And I told him, I was like, in like 6th grade, I was like, kind of thought I was black. Dude. I was like, I listened to like, I was like, but I didn't, but I was like, I had like an and one baseball jersey,
Bro.
a FUBU shirt,
Yes.
a couple FUBU shirts. I was like, I think because we played so much basketball.
Right. It's part of the culture.
And I was like, and I had like this one CD that I didn't even like, but I listened to it because I thought I had to.
Yeah.
It was
That's too funny, dude.
it was like ridiculous. So
Same boat,
did
dude.
kids make fun of you?
Yeah, like I was getting I don't want to say bullied. I think that's such like a soft way to put it. I was just, it was just Fort Lauderdale. You know what I mean? You're just like, kids would roast you and make fun of you, and then you would hit them back. And I'll never forget. I was young at this time, but I couldn't stop hitting kids. Like, it was like a problem. My dad actually ended up taking me to a jail cell and like had me sit in a jail cell and kind of tell me like, if you keep hitting kids, you're going to end up in this jail cell. And it was just kind of ironic because my dad at the time was also like deeply into heavy narcotic usage, so it was just ironic he would even show up at a police station to like teach me a lesson.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that at the time.
But you knew when you
But as I got older, I started looking back on the story because like I was thinking about this the other day, and I was just like, I can't believe he took me to jail cell. Like, how bold and risky is that? Like, this dude is out here like doing crimes to get his hand on a dime. You know what I mean? And he's out here bringing me to a jail cell. So I love you, Dad, if you heard this, but. He's been sober and also saved by the Lord for a few years now, so he's on a good path. So all got restored, but it was just funny because at the time, I just can't believe he did that. And I remember sitting in the jail cell just like so bored for like, and the cops were like cool with him doing that lesson. You know what I mean? But yeah.
What's Fort Lauderdale? So you grew up to Fort Lauderdale until you were 14. What's that like? What's the dynamics of that city? Is it?
Yeah, so it's because it's like really close to Miami, but not Miami. You get a lot of the trickle effect of like the like Latino, Cuban. It's a really melting pot, man. You get everybody, Dominican, Black. Like, so I grew up in a neighborhood where I was like maybe one of, and I don't want to say one of two, but like one of the few white boys. There's a lot of Spanish kids, there's a lot of Black kids. It was everybody. So when we're out, we're playing ball, we're playing football. We're egging houses, we're doing all sorts of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I love that. I love that you're like, I play basketball, so of course I was wearing jerseys.
Yeah, I
was
was wearing jerseys, bro. I was literally, I'm telling you, I would have every album. I had every Eminem album. I was listening to G Unit and like The Game and 50 Cent. I grew up on so much hip hop to the point where it was like I wanted to be a rapper. I would write bars.
Well, dude, my friends and I listened to a lot of rap too, but lived in extremely suburban area, like way too suburban, like to the point to where it's like our parents, we all got cars when we were 16.
Oh,
Like, you know,
wow.
like it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, you went to like Oklahoma University.
yeah, I
right?
went to
like,
OU.
bro,
Like,
come
like, our life was so easy.
Yeah, like
both
you
our-
got like
know,
acceptance letters
our,
in the mail.
Our parents are married, you know, like one Christmas, you know, all that stuff. Like,
You blessed, bro.
nothing about our life is hard. We're going.
The only thing in the heart, you're like, I had to wear a T-shirt in the pool
Yeah,
at church
oh,
once.
man, that sucks. Mom and Dad made us fly coach, you know.
This is nonsense.
Yeah, very easy life. Nothing hard about it. And I just remember listening to like the hardest imminent, like, you know, just like this deep. This man's been
The
through
way
so
I am,
much.
cleaning
Yeah,
out my
yeah,
closet.
clean out my closet. Don't you know
Dude.
who I am, Mom?
Yeah.
White America up in here, you know, like.
Exactly, dude. It makes you hate your parents for
Yeah,
some reason.
for
You're
some
like,
reason.
Yeah, just through him.
Yeah, and everyone, my parents like, we just took you to Cancun. Like,
Yeah,
what are you
like,
talking about?
Life is good.
We come to all your events.
We request off to go to your games.
I was up till 1 a.m. doing homework with you. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's good. You got a good upbringing though, bro. Do you feel like your parents helped you because of their like goodness? They helped you cultivate that relationship with your own kids and like knowing how to raise them right.
Absolutely, dude. My parents were amazing parents.
That's so good. Dude.
So I mean that makes a big difference, right? Like
yeah.
you see your parents. My parents are so giving, right? Like just so giving to me. Like it makes me want to give. Like just makes you want to give to anybody you can, right? Like that's a huge. Them being the parents that they were, like how they were, like just so gracious to me and my sister. Like, I mean, I just want to give to everybody.
Do you
know
feel
what I
like besides the like when we take the church out of the equation, do you feel like they were a good representation of God to you?
Oh yeah, for sure. My dad is from Iran. So up until
We're allies,
up until man,
right?
dang.
America and Iran are allies, or are they
no,
not allies?
at all.
That's the opposite.
100% opposite.
Whoops.
Yeah, yeah. there was a whole hostage situation in the 70s, right before he came, like right after
Really?
he came. Yeah,
All right,
whole
well,
thing. Yeah,
I repent. I rebuke that.
Yeah,
I take that back.
but he's cool. So he,
My dad's cool though.
but he grew up in like the Muslim church, but was not Muslim. So, so my mom's the one that took us to church all the time. But it was always very important for my dad that we went to church. He didn't come with us, but it was always like I always try to get my dad to like let me like stay home on a Sunday. He's like, no, you gotta go to church, dude. And so it was always very important that we went with my mom to church. And then up
What did he do?
until like I don't know what he did while we were gone.
Mow the lawn or something?
Mow the lawn. My dad's yard still to this day the best yard in Carrollton. Like it's
He was
legit.
definitely mowing the lawn.
Yeah, he's mowing the lawn, doing whatever he wants. I don't know.
He's
why.
like, God gave me this grass to
yeah,
cut.
yeah.
Y'all
I gotta
go
do
to
this.
church.
Yeah, but I would say probably 2012, 2013. He started going to church with my mom and has not missed since.
Wow.
Like every day he goes there. He leads the Bible study at their church. Like, so
Dang.
you know,
I
you
love
never
it.
know. So,
That's good, dude.
what was it like? What were your upbringing like?
Yeah, so I don't even know if I want to get into that. You know,
Okay, you
there's
don't
this-
have to.
Yeah, I'll let you switch it up in that because it's just it's one of those things I have a hard time even like talking to my wife about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even know where I'm at with it still. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It was good in the sense of like I'm okay. You know,
Yeah.
I'm good. I have a lot of good memories.
We'll do this then. Okay, so you listen to a lot of Eminem. We'll switch
Yeah.
it up completely. You listen to a lot of Eminem. If could go back, what year did you graduate high school?
2011.
Okay, go back to 2009, 2010, 2011.
there we
You're
go.
in high school. You're driving around with your friends. Did y'all do that thing where you would like, for whatever reason, you just drove for no reason?
Oh, for sure.
All the time.
yeah.
Okay, what CD is playing?
So Far Gone, Drake.
Okay.
Mixtape, 100%. I found him early amongst all my friends too, so I found him on like that piff.
I like that. I
You know?
discovered Tony Romo. We'll get back to like I understand. I get it.
You know what I mean? When
Yeah.
you find something, you're like,
that's
I put you on,
Yeah.
like, and now he's huge.
yeah. What?
And then J. Cole as well. A lot of J. Cole in that time. And then Lil Wayne, bro. Lil Wayne was big in high school. Like Demolition 2 Freestyle and the Drought 3 mixtapes.
And the Carter 2?
Carter, yeah. More Carter 3. Carter 3, yeah.
Yeah, Lollipop, we always make a joke. We were at some party. I graduated high school in 2004, so I'm a little bit older than you. But I was at a college party in Oklahoma. And it was like a house party, and Lollipop came on for the first time ever, and it changed the entire night. Like everything
Hey.
happened, and we always say that we were at the world premiere of Lollipop.
Wow,
Like
that's
you know,
cool.
it wasn't the world premiere. I mean,
But for you, it was.
for
though.
us, it was, yeah. It was
Absolutely,
amazing.
dude.
Okay, so you listen to that. What Did you listen to any other music besides hip hop music? Because I feel like my music taste was weird, dude. I listened to a lot of hip hop and a lot of emo music.
Emo?
Yeah, like I mean, just like I don't like my.
What you mean emo?
Like I was listening to like Dashboard Confessional. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
Okay, they're sad. Those dudes stay sad. They're sad right now. Even if they like, even if they're Rangers fans, they're sad right now. Like they've never been happy. Like their music is so sad.
Say their name again. Dashboard what?
Dashboard Confessional.
Okay, I gotta look them up on the way.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
And then like
put that in the show notes.
and then Something Corporate is another band I listen to a lot too. They had like piano in their punk rock band.
So were you sad in a way? Like
I don't know.
high
I
school?
guess so.
Were
Yeah.
you looking for a girl? Is that kind of what
dude?
it
I
was?
just always, you know,
always, bro.
But yeah, always.
Bro,
man.
that's what my high school was like. My music was built around kind of where I was at, like with women at the time too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
if I was like feeling myself, it'd be straight rap. But if I was like, dang, bro, she like won't leave her man for me yet, it was like all T-Pain and like Akon. You know, you know what I mean? Just I would say R. Kelly, but you know how that.
Now,
you know, yeah, you can't say that now. But Trapped in the Closet, bro.
Yeah, dude,
bro, those videos, those
worst.
music videos. Wow, I can't believe you made those. But
have you ever seen Trapped in the? Have you seen all of them?
I've seen all of them until maybe I saw all of them.
Yeah.
I just didn't love the last like 5.
Dude,
you know?
we watched that when we somehow discovered that. I don't remember where we were. We were at one of my buddy's house, and it was me, my 2 friends, and then my buddy's younger brother and his friend. Okay, me and my 2 friends, we are roasting the hell out of it, as you should. If you've never seen R. Kelly's Trapped in a Closet,
so funny.
It is the funniest thing you've ever seen, and it's not supposed to be funny.
No.
But his brothers are like, oh, his brother and his friend are like, oh my god, like they like
hyping it up.
Like that was their target audience. Like that's who R. Kelly wrote that for. He wrote that for them because he wanted that expression. He wanted that reaction. And and then like when the midget comes out, and then oh my god,
out of the cabinet, right?
Yeah, oh my god, a midget. Like,
yeah. But the fact, because I didn't even know he was like, because it was kind of comical, you know, like I didn't know he was like even had a comical vibe to him, and then.
But do you think he was trying? I don't think he was. No, I think it was I mean, he's like, and I put out that Beretta, you know. Like, right? Like I think he was being.
He's being so serious.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's what makes it funny then.
Yeah.
That makes it even funnier.
And then she's like,
the Rosie the nosy neighbor. Remember that
yeah.
one? Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm gonna open that cabinet. She's like, don't you open that cabinet? Yeah. Like it's like, it's not even...
we need something like that again though. Like, you know, we need a run back of something like that.
I think South Park made fun of it.
Yeah.
If I remember.
Or Chappelle Show, one of the two.
Chappelle made fun of him peeing.
Urinating, yeah.
Yeah. And he did the doo-doo butter. And So Chappelle, man. That show was
Have you seen Ralph's new special?
I watched the first 15 minutes of it so far.
Okay.
Have you seen it all?
I got 10 minutes left of it because I put it on before bed and stuff. The first 2 nights it was out, and yeah, man, it is that boy's smooth with it, bro. I just want to give Ralph some love because I know we got a lot of DFW comics that listen to this, and man, he stepped it up, man, and I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, awesome. You guys should recognize Ralph. He was on season 2.
Which is so cool, bro. You got to do like a promo for that, you know, like run it back, relaunch it or something.
Yeah, something. We got to do something. Yeah,
I would.
Ralph is awesome, man, and it's so cool how nice he is.
Yeah, bro.
Very nice guy.
That's why he made it, though. You know what I mean?
Extremely hard worker, great writer. And he's just easy on stage. Yeah. I think that's how I define his comedy. It's just
smooth,
easy,
bro. Smooth.
Right? It's just like he's up there talking to a buddy. Mm-hmm. He's not trying hard or anything like. I mean, he's trying hard, but you know, it doesn't seem like he's trying hard. It's like watching, like Dirk, like you know, like it's just like it's just so it comes so easy. I haven't watched it all yet, but
man, he had this joke on there which the people gotta go check out where he talked about he wants to be like he wants his girl to be like a Fast and Furious driver, like a street racer, and have like a fancy car and stuff like that. And he just acted out this whole bit where he's like the girl in the relationship. And man, it was just so flawlessly done. He did it for like 15 minutes, like was in this act of just like pretending to be the girl of the situation, of the girl coming to pick him up at his house and like, oh, you almost woke up my dad. And it's just so funny. And I just couldn't believe that it was so well thought out. And then the way he ends it, he totally just like acts like he didn't even say that joke and then just moves on to the next thing. And it's flawless the way he did the whole set. And you can just tell, like, man, there was people there in the crowd that were there for him and that loved him from the local spot, you know? And I'm just very happy for him. It's really cool to see. And it's inspiring, you know, because we were on the same stages as him and, you know, chopping it up with him after the shows. And not to say if he can do it, we can do it. But at the same time, it's like, why not?
Yeah,
you know?
there's a terrible rumor going around that you can't make it from DFW.
I don't know
you
where
know?
you get that from
So,
because
it's
he made it
just
rather quickly to the big
from
stage.
DFW. He never went anywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
he's
incredible.
obviously performed other places, but you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and there's tons of guys that have built careers.
And even this podcast, bro, it's like, you know how many podcasts are still like, people are still hungry to find new podcasts? You know, it's like this
Yeah.
can blow up suddenly overnight, dude.
Yeah, you never know.
Do you do clips from this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing, man. You make one clip and then boom, everybody finds out who you are.
I know, it's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy how that stuff works out to where you'll put, and I always laugh about like, you'll post something that you're like, dude, this, that, and you spend so much time on it, like, this is going to get me so many views, and it gets like 83. And then you'll post like a video of you undoing that water bottle, and it's like 17,000.
Yeah, you're like, what? How did that happen?
Yeah, why
How
is
did you
that?
relate to that?
Yeah. Algorithms, man. Okay, so name of the podcast is called Back in the Day, right? Each season I focus on like one topic that I have my guests share.
Okay.
This topic we're talking about stories from when you got in trouble. You have a story about the time you got in trouble the most at home?
Yeah, at home. This is kind of twofold. It's kind of at home and school.
That works.
I went to, and this is all kind of basketball related too. I was about to try out for the basketball team. And my dad was a silly guy. He would come home with like little pranks sometimes and like magic stuff. And one time he went to a magic shop and brought home this little tiny jar. It was a little green jar and literally this small. You unscrew it and one little drop of that can make an entire school smell like trash. I'm talking the most disgusting smell on planet Earth. And he gave it to me and he said, here you go. And
how old were you at this age?
I was 7th grade, so about 13 or about 12.
The worst time to give a boy something that smells
I have
terribly.
no idea why he gave me this. It's almost like he gave me the keys to like destruction, you know, and I chose to go.
He
with
wanted
it.
some shit to go down.
He wanted something to
Yeah.
go down. Like, just keep this at home. What am I going to do with it at home? Make my room smell like trash?
Exactly.
You know, it smells so terrible. And so I bring it to school. I'm showing it to all my friends. I'm having them take a whiff or whatever. And they're like, oh, my God, it's terrible. It's so bad. And then for some reason in PE, I felt the need to like be a jokester and sprinkle some here, sprinkle some there, and the entire locker room of the gymnasium smelled like soiled hot dogs for hours, bro.
And at this point, you've already shown everyone that you have this, or a good amount of people.
I didn't do it right. I didn't do it subtly. It was like everybody knew who it was. And I don't know what the heck I was thinking doing this. Like, oh, people aren't just, I just thought people would find out. Who's going to find out?
Yeah.
Or like, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, honestly. But then it made the whole place smell terrible. And I remember not only did I get suspended, I wasn't able to try out for the basketball team that year, which was such a bummer because I was like working hard to try out and stuff. And then when I got home, I also was just in mad trouble.
Whether you suffer from allergy symptoms like sneezing, coughing, itchy eyes and throat, runny nose, asthma, more severe respiratory issues, or even cancer, poor indoor air quality has been directly linked to your overall health. Take control of the air you breathe today. Contact Steven of Fresh Air Matters for more. Fresh Air Matters has everything you need to clean the indoor air before you breathe. Go to freshairmatters.com/air purifiers and use my promo code PASVAR, that's PASVAR, at checkout to receive a special discount on all air purification products. Go to freshairmatters.com or call or text at 469-469-1852. That's freshairmatters.com or call or text at 469-469-1852. Walk me through though, like, okay, so you sprayed all around the school, or around the gymnasium. How it smells instantly bad?
Yeah, like it's like a fart bomb, like a huge fart bomb. That's kind of what it's called.
Who found out that you had it? Was it a teacher?
It was like the PE coach.
And was it one of those things where it's like, somebody better tell me or you're all in trouble?
Nah, it was immediately like they knew who I was called to the principal's office like the next class.
Did someone turn you in?
I don't remember how it went down, honestly. I just remember me being in, his name was Mr. Lyons' office and just so embarrassed because Number one, he smelt it. You know what I mean? And he was just like,
Ugh.
he's like, what are we going to do with this about this situation? You know, and then the PE coach, the one that like found it the first time or discovered and like, you know, inquired about it with the students and stuff. He was actually the basketball coach. So I was foolish and did it in like his territory.
Of course, right?
Yeah, so dumb.
Because dumb
you know?
7th graders.
For real.
You never...
and like, who would have thought that like, what was my intentions on that? You know what I mean? Was I trying to be funny? You know, it was a
and no
stupid
laugh.
No laugh.
And you got to smell it too.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a huge miss.
Yeah, you got no joy
miss.
out of that.
It was the worst.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I don't want to blame my dad, but why would you give me that?
Yeah. Well, because sometimes when you got in trouble in 7th grade or 8th grade or whatever, you know, you got in trouble, but at least you got a couple of laughs or you stuck it to a teacher or something. Like, but you just...
I just ruined everybody's day.
Yeah, you just ruined your own day because you had to smell it too.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? I bet you it would be hard for a kid to get in trouble for that. Nowadays.
Yeah, dude.
You know why? Because they couldn't, because you could like, did they ever find the tube or anything of the stuff, of the potion? What about if you were just a stinky kid? Like, what about if you just smelled that bad?
Yeah,
and they don't know
true.
for a fact, like that you did something maliciously. Maybe you just stink.
I can identify as stink.
Yeah, I'm a stinky boy, you know, whatever. And like, I wonder how they would tiptoe around that.
Oh, dude, I'd be on the news and like I'd have like supporters and a GoFundMe started.
I had I substitute taught when the first year out after college, I substitute taught at my old high school.
Why? Why would you do that?
Because
Jack Black?
Yeah, I was trying to, you know, because I was doing comedy and I have a degree in theater and I had an agent and I was acting stuff. So I wasn't looking for a job where I had like a set schedule.
Oh, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? So it was better than like a waiter job.
Oh, for sure.
I just sat there and read all day.
That's cool.
And then you didn't have to turn in a schedule or anything. There was like an automated thing that would call you and you'd pick up jobs. And if you had to cancel, you didn't have to tell anyone. You just called into that thing. You could do it 5 minutes before school.
That's legit.
So there was no, you know what I mean? So if I got like a gig or something, or if I was tired from a gig or whatever, I just would cancel or whatever. So I remember there was a girl there that was a vampire. Wow. And I go, what? She told me, she's like, I'm a vampire. And I was like, what do you mean you're a vampire? No, she didn't tell me. The kids in the class are like, so-and-so's a vampire. I said, what do you mean she's a vampire? She's like, no, she's a vampire. I was like, okay, funny. I was like, nah, and they're like, nah, bro, she thinks she's a vampire. And her boyfriend he will cut his finger and put it in something and she'll drink it. And like, so in 2009, I was like, that's crazy. Now I was talking to some other teacher. She's like, yeah, I got about like 4 vampires. I have a cat. I got a couple of stuff. So I don't think you would have gotten in trouble for the stink. Okay. So you get suspended.
Yeah.
And then you go home. What happens when you get home?
See, man, my memory's a little janky. I wish I would over embellish and be like, my dad took the belt out on me. I just don't remember.
Yeah.
I do remember one of my punishments though. This is kind of funny. Maybe it's not that one, but I remember when I was probably a little bit younger than that, I got in trouble for moving around a lot in the after school program. Like I couldn't sit still, and like when we're supposed to be sitting on the ground. So my dad had me like crawl from like one side of the house to the other side of the house, back and forth, because I didn't want to stay still at school. So he's like, all right, you don't have to stay still at home too. So that was a punishment I got one day. It was just crawling around
back
the house.
Yeah.
So, and then, obviously, I've had the belt a couple times and all that. But as far as like trouble with the house, like nothing ever was like too serious that it was like
where you got something.
Yeah, where it's like I'm grounded for like months on end or something terrible like that, So he realized he gave me the
he
bomb. He's playing like that. He's like, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like my honestly, my punishment at school was enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
They threw the book at me for that, and I was like, bro, I mean, I'm a class clown, but like, I think that's a little. They suspended me, and I couldn't try for basketball. Like
that's a little over the top, right? Because
they just didn't want me getting buckets.
That's what it is. They didn't want Drake.
They didn't want white man getting buckets.
They didn't want
bro.
the white
Trying
Draymond.
to keep the white man down, dude.
They didn't want the white Draymond on their team.
They didn't want the straight white man succeeding, bro. Just like nowadays.
So you go and you were saying earlier that you would get in trouble a lot for hitting kids, and we didn't get into that. Were you just like punching, like were you
man.
like?
Bro, I fought so much. I fought so much as a kid that I had this pinky right here was broken 3 times from hitting people like with this. Because, bro, like people would like start beef with me for everything on the bus, in the neighborhood, at school. I could not catch a break. I'm the type of person, and probably there's a lot of DFW comedians that would testify to this. I'm the type of person that when you meet me, you most likely won't like me right away.
Okay.
There's just something about me. It's just a strong personality. I don't know what it is.
Bad first impression.
Bad first impression, bro. You know, and that was BC. That might have been before Christ, for sure. Because I haven't really experienced that too much recently. But at the same time, that's how I experienced all of grade school, middle school, and a little bit of high school as well. You know, so I fought people in high school, everywhere. You know, I fought this one kid in my neighborhood one time. We were playing football, and I went to go block him, but I blocked him hard, bro. I like shoved him like super hard because he didn't like me, and I was like, all right, you don't like me, I don't like you. Pushed him down. This guy got so mad, he got up, and then he started coming at me, and then I stuck him in the face, like boom. I hurt my pinky really bad, but I got his jaw pretty good. This dude went home and got a knife and started going, like, kitchen knife, walking through the neighborhood looking for me, and all that, you know, and like the cops were called. This whole thing broke out because I hit him in the face, you know. But isn't that what you do when somebody comes at you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's different than a knife.
Yeah, and like buddy went and got a knife, you know. So I've been in situations
Did he find
like
you?
that. No, he didn't. I was at my house. It's like I wasn't hiding, you know. I was just at my house, and he was looking for me like in the neighborhood. And then I had people tell me like, "Oh, he's out there looking for you with a knife and stuff." And I'm like, I'm not gonna go out there, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna go de-escalate.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
had a kid pull a knife on me one time over by my house. We had a trampoline, and it wasn't like in a fence. And this kid was like, "Let me come jump on y'all's trampoline." I was like, "Nah, man, we're cool," like or whatever, you know, like or whatever.
Yeah.
We're about to leave or whatever. And my parents won't like that or whatever. It's like, "No, let me jump on your trampoline." And I was with another friend. And I was like, "No, we're like about to leave or whatever." He was like, what about this?" And he pulled a knife, and I was like, "Whoa,
this ain't
easy."
the movies, Jack. Relax.
Easy.
It's a
Like, you live in a
trampoline.
gated community. Like,
We're in the suburbs.
yeah, bro, where'd you get that
chill.
knife from?
For real, dude.
You in Boy Scouts or something? Dang, what do you have? Like,
That's funny.
it was like, and it was like it was
Yeah.
like a knife.
And that's serious, bro. Like, you know,
Yeah,
like,
you can-
I don't like stuff like that. You know, it's that can, especially nowadays. You see like how things are with child violence and school shootings and all that. It's like, man, that's not nothing to play with.
Well, and a knife is scary because
Yeah.
it's like it's different
It's more
than
aggressive than a gun.
well, because you can't get to it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can do a lot of damage with it being so small and everything like that. It's not like you can
it's
knock it out
barbaric.
of their
Yeah,
hand.
it's more barbaric. It's
Yeah,
like-
they can do you get up close to someone, you know.
right.
So, all right. So, you have any stories about getting in trouble with the law?
I do, and this
All right.
one's probably my favorite one
Okay,
to
cool.
share with you. Man, like I was kind of sharing earlier, I went through a huge phase of egging houses and cars and just putting trash cans in the middle of the road. People stop and then they get out, and I egg their car when they move the trash can. Terrible stuff, you know. That was not a good season of life. It was a great season. It was a lot of fun actually, but
Tons of fun.
tons of fun. Adrenaline, bro. I was an adrenaline junkie around high school age. And I remember I was when I moved to Tampa, I had my friend come out who I used to egg with down in Fort Lauderdale area. And he came to visit me. He didn't come just to egg.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what I
like,
mean?
we egging this weekend.
Yeah, let's go. I got Walmart gift cards.
Yeah,
You know?
like,
So,
'cause
but we
how far are they apart?
4 hours, about 4 hours.
Could you imagine like a 4-hour drive? It's just like the eggs are just getting like hotter and hotter in the car. It's like, man, I
Just
hope these
ready.
make it.
Yeah, let me share actually a story about that because I went down to egg as well. I went down to see him in that same time period, and we should have learned our lesson after this. And then I'll tell you the Tampa one right after. But we set up shop at like the basketball park or basketball court in the neighborhood where we used to play at, in that same neighborhood I was telling you about earlier. And so there would be like cars going by on kind of like a state road highway. And we would post up in the bushes, and we would, like, when a car would go out, we would egg them, boom, and then run. We would just do that like a cycle. Well, one night we were having a hard time hitting the cars.
So were you guys just anonymously egging?
Yeah,
Like you weren't like egging.
there was no targets. No.
Oh man,
If no matter what you drove,
So
you were getting smoked.
it wasn't people that you knew.
Nah,
Oh.
is that bad?
I
pretty
think that's
bad.
a little like
It's horrible.
it's not horrible, but it's a little school shooter. Like it's a little like
There's
You know,
levels. There's levels.
right. There's like it's like, okay, I egged this dude because he was mean to me
Mhm.
or whatever. I mean,
That's
I
what
like
I'm
it though.
saying. God's grace is sufficient because I'm still here right now and we're alive.
All
We're
right, so
okay
you're
to
in
sit
Fort
church.
Lauderdale.
I'm throwing the eggs with my whole crew from like the old days, you know, and this is when I lived in Tampa, so I drove back, like I would go
Yeah,
visit
you
and
would.
stuff. Yeah, I drove, you know, so and this was right around the time all our friends are getting cars too, so it got a little bit more like hot, you know, instead of us being on foot, we can like drive around in the egg, you know, so it's a whole different element.
Drive by egging.
Drive by egging, dude. It was fun. I got a bunch of egging stories. It's crazy. And so we're throwing them, and we're missing a lot. Missing a lot at first, but then we started hitting them. We started boom, 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 and we hit this one guy. It was like in a silver silver like Nissan, like a fast one, going really really quick. We hit him, boom boom, and I think we all threw eggs at the same time and got him good. This dude popped the emergency brake, turned around, and came back and found like where we were. We started taking off running. We ran on foot. My boy Leo's car was parked like right by the basketball court. They somehow figured out that was our car and slashed all 4 of the tires of Leo's car. Oh. And it's so funny because on the way back to Leo's house in the neighborhood, we're like pushing the car, like pushing
because tires.
You just push it. That's all you can do, pushing the car. And we didn't forget, but we didn't realize this would come back to bite us. On the way to that spot, we were egging houses as we went. And then there was cops on the whole way back home, like at people's houses because their cars and houses got egged. And this guy with no shirt on was like, saw us with our car. Oh, and here's the thing too. The people found the eggs because we stored them like by the basketball court. They found the eggs and then they egged all of Leo's car. So Leo's car had nothing but eggs on it and 4 tires. But then when we were on the way back and we saw the cops and we saw that guy that we egged, he had like a black Durango. And he's like outside, like with no shirt on. Which one of y'all egged my Durango? Which one of y'all egged my Durango? And I'm like, we got egged too, sir.
Yeah,
we got egged. Look at our car. Yeah. We got egged. We were the victim. And it was just so like, boom, 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 heart pumping so fast. And then you would think we learned our lesson. No.
Well, let's hold on.
Yeah, you want to pause there?
We'll
pause there. Yeah.
You guys were the victims in a way. Because, yes, you started with the egging.
We started the war. We didn't
end
the war.
Dude slashed his tires. Like that's a whole nother level.
I felt so bad for Leo. He did not deserve that.
Someone eggs your car, you go to a car wash, it's over with. Someone slashes all 4 of your tires. That's an $800 expense.
And you know how hard it is to slash tires? Like, what kind of professionals are we dealing with here? Like, what kind of knife did they have?
They're probably that one the
trampoline kid?
Yeah, the trampoline kid. That's probably it.
He probably had a switchblade on him.
He moved to Fort Lauderdale.
For real, dude.
Had all that rage. I never got to jump it out.
I couldn't believe it because I've tried to see if you can do that, and you that's hard. It's not easy to slash a tire.
Yeah,
try it.
Okay, so he comes to Miami to egg.
Yes.
Right.
So yeah, I was in Fort Lauderdale to egg, and then my buddy Mikey, he's my best friend. He came up to visit me, and he's friends with all my new friends in Tampa now. Like we're all boys, we're all egging, doing the thing. Now I have a car, and we went to this neighborhood that I used to play basketball in. Ironically, a basketball court got involved again, and it's like a little tucked away hill. And we're trying to hit cars as they go by, but we're like at this like slope. So we're having a hard time like throwing them up to hit the cars, and we just kept missing. We were like bums that night, bro. Like completely like no adrenaline pumped, nothing. So I was like, we're walking back to our car just kind of bummed because we didn't hit anything. And then as soon as we walk by, I look and I see this house, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get it. And I wind up, and I was thinking Randy Johnson tossed this egg to the top of the door window. You know how there's like a window above a door? Boom. And then my buddy Mikey goes, me too. And my buddy Mikey throws hard. This dude, like when we go to like the arcade, he throws like an 88 mile per hour fastball, and we win like all the tickets at like Dave & Buster's. This dude throws hard. He threw an egg so stinking hard. Boom. It sounded like a dang gunshot. That's how hard he hit it. And so we're laughing. We're running back to our car, but the exit is the opposite way of we're running.
Uh-huh.
So we're running to our car. And then my buddy loses his sandal, and then next thing you know, we turn around and we see this guy with boxers on, hairy chest, booking it, running towards us. Woo, 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 woo. We jump in our car, so afraid, so scared. I had a water bottle that flung out of like my chair and went under my gas pedals or under my clutch of my automatic or my manual car, and I couldn't start the car because my clutch was under there, and I had to move the water bottle, and I finally start the car. I start to peel off. The guy like grabs onto the front of my car. He's hanging on to the front of my car while I'm driving, and then he finally jumps off or whatnot, and then I go flying over a speed bump. Boom! And then I had like a low suspension 1998 Honda Civic. My tire literally like felt like it was gonna bust. And then we finally get back to my house. Adrenaline. Me and Mikey, we get in the pool. We're just talking about the night, and then we egged FBI agent house.
Oh my gosh!
And they thought it was like an operation to like mess this guy's house up. It was they thought it was a targeted attack.
Well, yeah, because he threw that thing so hard, right?
He threw it so hard, dude. Yeah. I'm telling you, he threw it so hard, like he was mad at the dude, bro. It was so crazy. And then so we're over here like in in a bathing suits with shirts on.
Yeah, just
Got to keep it Christian.
Yeah,
you know
got to
what I
keep
mean?
Christian in that house.
And then my mom, comes and gets me. She's like, cops are here to see you. And I was like, huh? I go to the front door, and then boom, it was just like complete just dismay for that incident that happened. And I had to assure them that like we were just like egging houses.
Yeah,
for
we're just
fun.
doing some kid stuff.
And then my dad made me go over the next day and apologize to him. And luckily I didn't have to clean it up. Luckily he cleaned it up. But I was supposed to go over there and clean and apologize. So I apologized. But, man, it was just so – and I had a flat tire, bro. So it was like, when you're 16, you have a flat tire. That's a lot of money and also like a lot of headaches and stuff. So a lot of lessons learned in egging, dude.
Yeah.
A lot of flat tires
dude.
A lot of flat tires.
A lot of flat tires, a lot of eggs.
Yeah. We had one time some guy chase us in a huge truck, like what you would see in a movie, bro. Chase us like all throughout it's called like Brandon I forget what it's called. But all around like a suburb out there in Brandon, Florida. Yeah. And but yeah, man, just so many stories like that where it's like just getting in trouble and loving the egging life.
And like close to getting in trouble, but not real trouble.
My friend Olivier, he threw an egg one time. These girls walking, and it hit this girl's butt cheek, and it was just so funny because he thought he had like sniper aim. From then on, he was just like he can hit anybody with any kind of egg. Yeah. At that point, so terrible stories. Jumped the curb one time to like chase a kid on a bike.
Man,
to egg, like, bro, this is before Christ, all right? These are all part of the testimony of redemption.
Egging was your life, man.
I know. I have way too many stories.
Yeah, there's a lot of egg stuff. So, dude, a lot of fun.
Like
Thanks
Easter.
for coming on, man. I appreciate you coming
dude.
on. Plug everything you got going on. Plug your book real quick.
Yeah, man.
Give me a brief synopsis about it, and then.
Yeah, man. 21 Days in Africa, man. It's a book that really just helps people understand, number one, who I am. Like, you can really see that in chapter 1. I kind of give you a little bit of backstory, but then from then on, we're straight on the ground running about, going on this mission trip to, spread the gospel in Africa. But it's more than that. I was able to see firsthand just the poverty that's out there, yet how much joy they had. They take, baths in kiddie pools, and they have holes in their shirts. They have mismatched shoes, but yet they have so much joy and appreciation for life out there. And just being able to see that firsthand and just wanting to be a part of that, it showed me that humanity has such a need for a savior. No matter if, you have problems, I have problems, they have problems, but at the end of the day, problems are still problems. And there's only one way to actually, give that problem to somebody else to take on that burden, and that's Jesus Christ. So being able to like spread the gospel out there, to preach, I preached 2 different times out there and saw 6 salvations, and I had like a translator. I got to minister to widows. I got to see generosity, what that looked like for the first time of my father-in-law that was with me. He had a birthday, and like these kids, man, we get back from like going to one of the 100-year-old widow's house, crazy, 100 years old, was still dancing and stuff. We get back there, and there's a line full of kids, bro, 200 kids with birthday cards in their hand and then trumpets being played for his birthday. We go inside this room, and then there's confetti being thrown. There's this love. The atmosphere is incredible. It was the first time I ever cried tears of joy. And then we go outside to the soccer fields that night, and we're watching the kids play soccer. And keep in mind, my father-in-law, he's a wealthy man, and that's why he was able to start the nonprofit that's out there. And, of course, the generosity of the people helps them go to school out there called the Subi Project. Literally, like, the price of, like, a car wash, like $38 a month can, like, feed a kid twice a day, as well as, like, provide education for them. It's incredible what the U.S. dollar can do for a kid out there. So started this nonprofit and stuff, and it's just crazy because on his birthday, he was pulling out birthday cards that they were giving him, and one of them, the first one he opened, I'm sitting right next to him, opens up the card, and out falls a shilling, which is like which is like 28 cents USD, but enough money to buy them dinner for that night. And like these little kids gave him money. You know what I mean? And it's like that generosity. These kids don't have 2 nickels to rub together, but they gave him all they had. And I was just like, man, it's so special. So I tell stories like that in the book and just really help people have eyes for what happens over there, and just hope that people just feel closer to God through it, and it was a powerful journey. I actually got stuck there for the last 7 days, bro. I was only supposed to go for 10, and then the day before I flew out, I had to take a PCR test, and I popped a positive, dude. So I had to stay there an extra 7 days, and that's when I actually wrote the book about it.
Oh, wow.
About the whole experience.
So wrote the whole book in that 7 days?
I wrote probably...
most of it?
I wrote most of it. I wrote like almost 20,000 words in 6 days, which is probably about 100 pages. And
where can people find the book?
Bro, it's on Amazon if you want to get it quickly, but if you want to get a signed copy, you can go to ilikebirdsministry.com, and you can get a copy from me on there, and then I ship it directly to your house.
Okay, cool. And then plug the podcast.
Yeah, man, I like birds, man. I like the Bible and I like words, so I like birds. It's something that I feel like has been really growing recently. The God's hand's been all over it. We've had awesome guests. We've had Christian rappers come on. We've had comedians come on. We had worship leaders come on. We have pastors. We have everybody you can think of, man. We're just trying to hear a good story and get the message out there that God is still faithful and God's still moving. So, and of course, I do solo dolo episodes sometimes where I just get on the mic and just rip a sermon off or a little message or a story or a bunch of stories and just try to be myself, man. Jesus jokes and country is try to what I promote on there, and just trying to bring the light in the dark time, man.
Sweet, dude. Well, guys, make sure you check out Zach. Follow him along. What's your Instagram handle?
I Like Birds Ministry is my for I Like Birds, and then Zach Rippey 23 is my personal. If you want to, just follow along, Zach Rippey.
Hey, yeah. Follow around Zach. Follow the podcast. Go buy his book. Do all that good stuff. Follow me on Instagram at Michael Pasvar. Check out my show dates at michaelpasvar.com. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the podcast. We'll see you guys next time.
Sharing
Bye now.